North Central College preparing for a big event this week, and we're preparing you on the Cardinal Report. Hi, I'm Charlie Edward. Outdoor Nationals for track and field to take place this week in Canton, New York. The men qualified 11 athletes for 8 events between Travis Morrison and the long-distance events, including the 5K and 10K. Kevin McMahon and Zach Plank will join him in the 10K, and Aaron Sabat will enjoy a 1,500-meter stroll on his own. Don't forget the 3K steeplechase, for many the most entertaining race. Ken Hoffman and Ryan Root will do the honors there. Zion Mason will be jumping over things too in the 110-meter hurdles, and so will Derek Nelson, the 400-meter hurdles. Luke Winder and Spencer LaHaye will vault over stuff in the pole vault. And Femi Oyuwale gets to do some jumping too in the high jump, all thanks to the glorious showing he had at the Gregory Invite, where he finished second, a lifetime best height of 6 feet 9.5 inches, getting the job done. The women have 10 athletes going. Megan Costanzo, no surprise, in the 5 and 10K. Madison Renfro, also no surprise, in the 100-meter hurdles. And that scrappy 4x100-meter relay team will make an appearance too, including Miranda Rohr, Brittany Olsen, and Sade Gant. With Composto in the pole vault, Stallworth in the shot put, and Baker in the hammer throw. And also making an appearance for his final time as a coach is Tom Roderick, who is featured on this week's Cardinal Corner. Too guilty to retire. Or he just loves track and field that much.
Yeah, you're just flying.
He's an assistant cross-country coach and an assistant track and field coach at North Central. He's Tom Roderick, and he tried to retire 13 years ago.
Oh yeah.
At the conclusion of this season, he's going to try to retire again, as long as some school doesn't try to talk him out of it once more.
I hope not.
Roderick previously coached track and field as well as cross-country at the high school level. And though it was so long ago, he still remembers vividly, down to the time frames of each stint.
There you go. And then, the next week, he goes 6'8" and he's state champion. I coached track at TF North in Calumet City for a couple of years, a year at Tinley Park, 3 years at Elk Grove High School, and then 19 years at St. Charles High School. Right. Go get him. Good luck.
Though his time at St. Charles far exceeds his tenure at North Central, Roderick's soft-spoken, quiet confidence helps him make instant connections with the people he meets.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes from his tone and his mood. You know, he's always laid back, and it helps when it comes time for conference and stuff, when you start to get a little worked up. You know, he's there relaxing you and calming you.
He just knows, he knows a lot about us. He knows exactly what each of us needs to work on.
Lean hard into the curve.
There are longer relationships too, such as with women's track and field coach Carrie Cluckhone and men's coach Frank Grammaroso, both of which have been around since Roderick came to North Central in the fall of 2002.
It has been great to have the continuity. You know, Carrie and I kind of, grew through the years together here. Frank Grammaroso I've known since 1976, I believe.
With him, he'll take so many memories.
The best performance we've had at the highest level was Zach Hirspink, finished second in the high jump at the national championships.
I'm okay, I'm good.
All right.
To go with Hirspink, Roderick adds 13 CCIW championships and 8 CCIW titles in hurdle events to his resume, an extra part of his resume that wasn't even supposed to exist.
I do not regret it at all. It's working with a great program like North Central College, and especially working with the kids here has been a phenomenal experience.
We're far from retirement on this episode of the Cardinal Report. A slew of guests to come, beginning with baseball coach Ed Mathey, and later with his first appearance since last December is head football coach Jeff Thorne. More Cardinal Report next.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that! Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Ed Mathey's team finished 26-16 in 2015, in a season that can only be called a success in his first year back since 2002. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Nice to see you. And last game, a 6-4 loss to Illinois Wesleyan. And during the regular season, you outscored them 19-10. You had your third starter on the mound for this one, though. Do you think that might have hurt you in the end?
You know, when you're in a tournament setting and you're coming out of the losers bracket, there's a lot of things that go into play. You know, and you got to give Wesleyan some credit. They came out swinging the bats pretty well that game, and unfortunately, we just weren't able to get anything going. They started their closer on us, and you know, give him a lot of credit. He think he'd thrown 20 innings all year coming into that ball game, and he went deep into that game for them. So he did a real good job.
That was amazing. I think IWU really showed off their pitching depth there, starting Truesdale. How often do you see that happen, where a closer gets a start in such an important game too?
Well, when you get deep into a tournament, you'll see some things like that, and it wasn't unusual. What I found, what Mr. Truesdale did very well in that game was, as he started to tire, he was still able to throw strikes, and his pitches were creating more movement, and he was able to command it in the strike zone. So that created some problems for us.
It's always nice to know the strategy behind how you order your starters during the postseason. You went with Cruz in Game 1, Polowy in Game 2 against Wheaton, and the last game, Blunk. Was there any strategy behind that? Well,
you know, Ben had been our #1 starter. He'd started most series openers all year. Bryan obviously was our #2 guy. And about midway through the season, Evan Blunk kind of stepped up, and he proved to be the most reliable of all of our starters. And you know, it was his turn to start, and we felt that if we'd gotten through that ball game, we were in a good position, especially with looking at a possibility of Sunday and being able to bring Ben back, but we never did get to that point.
Polowy got all the run support, and Polowy is your best pitcher at 1.09 ERA, but against Wheaton all season long, you guys scored 29 runs against that team. In the postseason, you scored 13, and the one guy who doesn't need run support is the one getting.
Yeah. It goes that way sometimes in baseball. It's a strange thing in offense and defense. You know, sometimes when you know you only need a run or two, you go out there and you score 10 or 12. And sometimes when you know you might need 8 or 9, you only go out there and get 2 or 3. It's just the way the game goes.
And another thing for you guys is that you're at home for this tournament.
Yeah.
Sometimes being at home, though, puts a little more pressure on you. Do you think that played into effect at all?
Well, there's more workload involved for our student athletes, that's for sure, getting fields ready and making sure we have the tarp on and off the field and everything else. And we actually talked about this at the conference meeting. Since 1992, the conference tournament host has only won the conference tournament 5 times. So we actually are we proposed the idea maybe the #4 seed needs to be hosting to give the #1 team the break, but it didn't go over very well.
Well, what did go well, though, Sing Fong, who had 0 RBIs until May, suddenly explodes with 6 in May. How about that?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, and Sing had been doing a nice job all year. He made some adjustments with his swing through the month of April. He was getting too much lift on the balls that he put into play, and he's a guy that's got a lot of speed, and we like to see him hitting line drives. So he made some really nice adjustments and warranted the opportunity to get out there, and it allowed our rotations to go pretty well. We had one of our players in the outfield who'd been a very good player for us was nursing a little bit of a leg injury, so to be able to move Sing out there worked out to be a very good move for us.
All right, more in the postseason in a moment. More with Ed Mathey after this on TCR.
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Oh, hello there. Oh,
Where's that bear?
Still with baseball coach Ed Mathey. Ed, we talked about Sing Fong and his improvement in May, but a guy who was good all year and was also a very young player was Bobby Smith. He had 6 RBIs in May himself, but he had 38 on the season. That's got to be exciting to see.
Oh, absolutely. Bobby did a great job for us this year. You know, he floated between center field and right field, gave us great defense, and his ability to start when he started hitting and started driving in runs really stretched our lineup out and made it a very dangerous lineup from top to bottom. And we were real happy with Bobby's performance.
And the only hitter with more RBIs was Joe Paparone.
Yeah.
He had 7 in May, but he led all year with 40. So you have to figure you were happy with the way your stars played, especially in big games.
Oh, absolutely. Our lineup, 1 through 9, and with a couple of the substitutions that we had throughout there, it was a very dangerous lineup. It wasn't one that relied on one player to do a good job, and we had some weapons throughout, and that's a hard thing to plan for opposing teams to pitch 1 through 9. Mm-hmm. So it was a good thing for us.
And someone else who won a big award, Bryan Polowy, Pitcher of the Year. I'm sure you got your vote for that too, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He was outstanding. It was it was one of those years where he was able to get his pitches, all 3 of his pitches, over for strikes consistently. His velocity increased a little bit, and that combination and the ability to throw strikes early, our defense was really ready to go when he was on the mound, because he would pitch to contact early, and that keeps your defense engaged. And our defense was very solid this year. And I think with Bryan's situation, the runs that he gave up were all earned, which tells you just how strong the defense was. So to have him out of the mound, I think everybody felt very confident we were going to have a good performance on the defensive side of the ball, and it helped us to win some ball games.
I figured when you got here, you had a chance to watch some tape and see what you had on your roster. When you watched Bryan and the tape of him, 3.29 ERA last season, but as a guy who specializes in pitching, were you able to scout anything out about him, or you knew that you might get this year?
He has some very good traits. He's got a very quick arm, and he has the ability to hold runners on. He's a very, very athletic pitcher. So those things, if we talk to him about throwing the ball in the strike zone and working ahead of hitters, which he did, you got to give him all the credit in the world for that. When you bring all those together with a strong defense, it's the makings of success, and I'm very happy for him.
And someone else you have to be happy for too, Ben Cruzen. We had him on the show last time, and since then he's broken the all-time record at NCC for strikeouts in a season with 238. So how about we talk him up a little bit too, huh?
Oh no, Ben had a great year for us. He was our first pitcher in weekend series, and he went out and set the tone. And to be honest with you, he was the guy who was usually matched up with the other team's number 1. And runs were at a premium in those games. If there had been a few ball games that we had gotten out and scored a few more runs, he would have probably had a 5-3 record, or 6-3 record, or 7-3 record. But unfortunately, when you're in that number 1 seat, sometimes that doesn't always work out for you. But he gave us great innings. He gave us great intensity on the mound, and he was a guy that set the tone for our team going in.
Well, with this year, Cruzen gets his 4th second-team All-CCIW selection in a row. Polowy was a first-teamer, so are Durango, Klein, Roan, Smith, most since 1991 for this team. And are you sad only 2 of them are coming back?
Absolutely, you'd like to have them all back, But no, but I mean that's the process. But it was a historic season for North Central College baseball, and for those guys in particular, I'm extremely happy because they all worked hard all year, and I think they earned those recognitions. Overall, how about you? I think you deserve a little recognition yourself. Quite a first year back. On paper, 26-16. The team very successful. The hard 90 system seemed to work out for you. Is there anything at all you changed with your first year back, or were you overall happy with the way things went? Well, you always want a few more wins, Charlie. There's no doubt about that. I think all things considered with the timing of the move, these players were outstanding. Every one of them in terms of embracing what we were trying to do. It took me a little while as a coach to see them in a competitive environment with some spring games. I think if we had seen a few more things earlier on, I think we had had a few more victories earlier in the season, which would have helped us out. But all in all, it was a pretty good year. Especially considering you started 8-9, and we keep mentioning it, the second half of the season was incredible. Yeah. Awfully fun to watch, and thanks for being on today. Absolutely, Charlie. Thanks for having me. And some of Ed's players, Sam Carius and Pitcher of the Year, Bryan Polowy, are next.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume, not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back. Sam Carius and the CCIW's best pitcher in 2015, Bryan Polowy, joining me now. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you? How are you doing?
And we welcome you on. Bryan, obvious question. You're the pitcher of the year. It's a big-time award. I have to assume you're feeling quite good about yourself right now.
Yeah, it was a great recognition to get for the year. I mean, I personally, on an individual level, I had a great year, but the team backed me up in every category there was. So it was easy to go out there with confidence and easy to have the year that I did. So
in baseball, especially for pitching, year to year, things seem to change so quickly. You never really predict what's going to happen, especially at the pitching position. With you last season, your ERA was in the 3s. This year, 1.09, best in school history. Was there a point going into this season where you felt like you were going to have this improvement?
Going into summer, definitely playing summer ball, I felt a lot more confident with my stuff pitching-wise and just confidence level overall. Last year, I got a start halfway through, and then they used me in the conference rotation, and definitely had a lot of confidence building through that, and then definitely over summer too. So I had a lot of confidence going in this year, especially with our lineup being what it is with all the seniors and just the 4-year leadership that we had.
Well, awfully impressive season. And Sam, you had a pretty impressive season yourself. You led the team in walks with 25. Your plate discipline, obviously impressive, but you look at the team as a whole. The team drew 152 walks opposed to 143 by opposing lineups. Do you think that speaks to the plate discipline of the team as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, we always talk about trying to get on base early in every inning, and I think that counts towards that. You get on base, and then that puts things in the pitcher's hand and the defense's hand, and you put the ball in play and get things happening, and good things happen from that. So it shows that we're very disciplined at the plate and had a great lineup and great teamwork.
The story, Bryan, all year has been Ed Mathey coming back. He was the coach from '94 to 2002. Always says he never felt like he left. The nice thing for you is he's a pitching specialist. And I have to assume some part of your improvement this year has to be attributed to Ed Mathey.
Oh, absolutely. I had more help this year from a pitching standpoint than I did in the past couple of years. And he was a great contribution to our staff in general this year, and me in specific.
Bryan, to have a year like you had, I feel like you have to really focus on every single pitch. You did just that, but for you, Sam, too, to draw so many walks, you have to keep a very consistently patient approach to all your at-bats. Is that something you think you were able to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot more confident in my swing this year than in years past, and just going up to the plate and having that confidence and knowing what I'm looking for kind of helped me out. I mean, there were those situations where you get 2-2, you get 3-2, and they come with the outside fastball and something like that, and the ump calls it on the outer corner. I mean, those things happen, but I felt confident every time at the plate that something good was going to happen.
Your batting average, .252, so a bit of a drop from last season, but your on-base percentage was .371, so stark contrast there. And I think it might be proof that maybe the batting average doesn't tell the whole story.
Right, I honestly had no idea what my batting average was at all during the season, and I mean, I just kind of wanted to enjoy every single moment with every one of the guys and enjoy every game, before the season ended, and just have fun.
Well, Bryan, Sam says he doesn't remember his, or didn't even know what his batting average was. I mentioned you have the lowest ERA in the whole league this year, CCIW at 1.09. Did you have any idea?
I did. I knew what it was going around, but the stat that was most important to me was the fact that all my runs given up this year were earned. So that just says how well our defense played behind me, and everyone in general. We had one of the best percentages in conference, and we showed it every single time out there. So.
Unless you give up 0 runs per game next year, there's almost no way to improve on what you did. So is next year just about staying on the same pace?
Next year is definitely trying to get back to where we were, trying to make the tournament. There's a lot of shoes to fill. There's a lot of people that are going to need to step up. We graduated a ton of people this year, and it's going to be interesting to see who steps up and tries to take a leadership role, and I'm confident in our team's ability to get back to where we were.
Sam, he mentions graduation. You're one of those people on the way out. A beautiful thing about this year's team is that it seemed to mix a perfect bit of youth, a perfect bit of experience. You think that's what helped you guys achieve a 26-16 record?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel that like team chemistry is the most important part of any sport when it comes to succeeding. And we had that this year. We were able to come together as a team and as a unit, and it wasn't so much, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You don't see that type of status. You more see a team working together, trying to help each other improve in every single aspect of the game, and that's what matters the most. And then we definitely had that a lot this year.
Well, Sam, moving forward, after graduation, you're going to be a Marine. Good luck to you in that. And Bryan,
thank you very much.
We'll see you next year. Thanks for being on, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. All right, well, it may be spring, but football isn't that far away. So next we'll enjoy a conversation with new football coach Jeff Thorne.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
He'll fill the shoes of arguably the greatest coach in North Central football history. Taking over for his father in 2015 is Jeff Thorne. Hi, Jeff.
How you doing, Charlie?
Crazy to know that you're going to be taking over for your dad. Does it feel good to be finally bossing him around for once?
Well, if you asked him, he would probably tell you I've been doing that for a long time. But yeah, it's an honor to have the opportunity. I'm very, very excited about it, and really humbled at the opportunity and the commitment the college has made.
What do you think are the main differences you've seen so far from being the assistant coach, the offensive coordinator, to now the head coach, the overseer of all things North Central football?
There's quite a few more things that end up falling on your desk that maybe you hadn't planned on for that particular day. So certainly more responsibility. Yeah, and that's been a little bit of an adjustment. Certainly my dad had warned me about those kind of things and said, hey, just be prepared, but you never really are prepared for that until you're sitting in that seat and experiencing it firsthand.
In football, there's so much, I think, delegation that a lot of coaches have to do. Are you taking advantage of your coaching staff more than ever?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm really fortunate to have the exact same coaching staff. My father's going to continue to stay around and work with our special teams as he's done for all the years he's been the head coach. So it's really been a seamless transition, and you speak of delegating. We've got just an amazing coaching staff of guys that you can give responsibility to and know that that particular task is going to get done on time and the way that you want it done.
Well, your dad was a great coach in his own right, but you're your own guy, and we all know that, of course. We want to know, what is the difference in culture you're trying to instill that maybe might have been different from your father's teams?
I come from the school of thought where if it's not broken, don't fix it. We've got a pretty good thing going, and the culture that's been in place since my father took over, I'd be a fool if I tried to change that. So we're not changing the culture. We're continuing with the approach that faith, family, and academics should all supersede football. The development of our young men as individuals first, athletes second, will always be the culture that we try to maintain and cultivate.
So philosophy staying the same, but as a coach, you are a very offensive-minded guy. Any schematic changes you're expecting?
Every year we have little wrinkles that we'll add to the offense, and there may be certain things we want to take out of the offense and defense accordingly based on your talent level and what players you have. We always want to make sure we're putting our players in positions to be successful.
How much are you actually going to control the defense since you're actually an offensive specialist? And if you're not going to really control it, can you explain who might be the one taking over?
Well, Coach Murray is still our defensive coordinator and will continue to be. He's done a great job. There's certain things that I will, communicate with Coach Murray and the defensive staff about, maybe some things that I'd like to see done a little bit differently, but that's their defense. We'll communicate, but at the end of the day, Coach Murray is in charge of the defense.
There is one big change for you, though, on offense. Sorensen on the way out. Great receiver. You're losing from your corpse there.
Right.
What have you done to try and regenerate, recuperate, make things a little bit better with him going on the way out?
Recruiting. We just have to continue to recruit really good, solid young men that happen to be good football players too. And we've done that this year. We're bringing in a class of nearly 70 new Cardinal football players, so we're very, very excited about that. But replacing Peter is going to be extremely difficult. We do have Ryan Kuhl coming back and Alex Ulmer, two kids that played a lot of football for us last year. Ryan is more Peter's frame, about 6'5" and 200 pounds, and had a dynamite freshman year. Started all 10 games for us, so we're expecting really big things from him.
In football, all the attention, all the credit, when you're winning or losing, it always goes to the quarterback. In the preseason training camp, everyone's always talking about the quarterback situation. I'm going to ask you about it too. We saw a lot of Dylan Warden toward the end of last season. He really seemed to start to take control of the offense. He's losing Sorensen now, though. But overall, I think we can expect him probably to be the starter. And if he's going to be, what are your expectations for him going into the next season?
We're excited about Dylan. He had a very, very good sophomore season. In fact, he led the nation in passing efficiency. So we're very pleased with that. Dylan and I have talked. There's certainly things that he needs to work on and improve upon to be a better player next year. We've got a transfer that came in from Wisconsin Platteville, Brock Kruger, who had a really nice spring. And we've got a few dynamite freshman quarterbacks coming in, kind of highlighted by the Chicago Tribune Illinois Player of the Year from Providence Catholic, Justin Hunniford. So we're really excited about what we have at quarterback going into next season.
Well, a lot of changes there, and more changes on the defense too. Jordan Dean, amazing player. You're losing him. Your secondary, the worry, it might be a little bit thin with him on the way out. But of course, it comes again to recruiting, like you mentioned. So who's some guys maybe we can watch out for in the secondary?
Actually, that's one of the positions I'm most excited about. I think we have more depth in the secondary than maybe any other position. Made a couple of changes with moving receivers over to defensive back that I think will make a big difference. Some of our older guys that we've been waiting for to really make that leap seem to have done that in the spring. So, you know, guys like Jeremy Nicholas certainly will be coming back from injury. We're really excited about that. Brandon Kibbe, Patrick Cravens, Larry Holman, P.J. Crotty also will be coming back from injury at corner. And then we've got Richie Zerngable, Kevin Nalewski at safety, along with Nick Lynch. So we feel very, very good about where we're at from a secondary standpoint right now.
And I'll tell you a game you'll need them for, the battle for the Little Brass Bell against Sweden on the road last year. 34-31 loss. This year you'll be at home for that game. And when I'm looking at the schedule for 2015, I have to figure that's a game you're pretty excited about.
We're always excited about the Wheaton game. It's a great rivalry. We have tremendous respect for Wheaton College and their coaching staff and their players. And every year it's a great game, full of excitement. Last year's game, one of the best that's ever been played, I think, in that series. And they beat us. They did what they had to do, and we've got to do the things necessary to get that turned around for this season, and that's what we're working on every day.
Well, we are all looking forward to seeing how things go in your first year at the helm, and we appreciate your time today.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Pleasure
nice to meet you. All right, football opens its season September 12th at home against Trine, and track closes its season this week at Outdoor Nationals. At NCTV 17 or www.northcentralcardinals.com for the latest on those happenings. Thanks for watching TCR.